Students are calling for a boycott, why they're not happy with the changes made to their food on campus.
A second leash on life. We'll tell you about a different way to volunteer.
Cinderella had her magical night, and these girls will too, thanks to the help from some Elon students. Good evening, Elon. I'm Jasmine Spencer.
And I'm Mallory Lane. Phoenix 14 News starts right now.
We start tonight with a story you'll find first on 14. A football player sustained a head injury at football practice Saturday, sending him to the hospital.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. This is not the first time wide receiver Darius McQueen has suffered a head injury while playing football at Elon. Tonight we look into what steps the football team takes to protect athletes who are at greater risk for repeat head injury.
Nick Ochsner has been following this story since it broke and joins us live from football practice fields. Nick?
Mallory and Jasmine, Darius McQueen has suffered at least one other head injury in the fall of 2009 when Elon took on the University of Richmond in the playoffs. Athletes like McQueen who suffer head injuries are more likely to sustain head injuries again, and that's received a lot of attention, has even led to new guidelines from the NCAA.
You've been doing the right things all along. You shouldn't have to change a whole lot.
Former Elon football coach Pete Lembo left Elon in February feeling confident that his team had policies in place to protect athletes from head injuries like concussions. This interview with Lembo is the only footage we have of the football staff discussing their concussion prevention methods because the Elon athletic department was unable to make someone available for an interview today.
Baseline testing with all our players, and that's been documented. And we also have a series of tests that they need to go through if there's any kind of head contact injury before they are able to return to play.
But for wide receiver Darius McQueen, extra precaution wasn't enough to prevent him from suffering another head injury on Saturday. Firefighters, paramedics, and other emergency workers crowded behind the football practice fields to treat the injured athlete before they took him to Alamance Regional Medical Center. Preventing head injuries is a hot-button issue for the NCAA, such a concern that each division passed new rules this fall requiring each school to have a concussion management plan. The plan calls for each member of the coaching staff and each player to be educated on the dangers of concussions. Since Saturday afternoon, Phoenix 14's tried to contact the athletic director, the football coach, and the head athletic trainer to find out what they do to keep student-athletes safe. So far, none of them have been able to tell Phoenix 14 News anything. As of this afternoon, a spokesman for the athletics department said only one person on the staff had access to the concussion management plan, and he wasn't available to share it with us. The NCAA requires the plan to include a protocol for physicians responding to possible concussions and a process for clearing student athletes to return back to playing. Since Elon's athletics department hasn't shared their plan with us, it's unclear whether or not their policies were followed to allow McQueen to return back to playing. Now, another step that football players from high school to college, even in the NFL, have taken to protect themselves from additional head injuries is to buy a helmet that adds extra protection by absorbing more of the shock. One of those helmets is the Zenith X1, and athletes at NC State University have used these here in North Carolina. Because athletics have failed to tell us what kind of helmet McQueen was using, there's no way to tell whether or not he would have benefited from this protection. For now, we're live at the football practice fields. Guys?
Thank you, Nick. An Elon committee has proposed changes to the general studies curriculum for students. Most faculty believe it's time for a change, but some want to see their department more involved or just not cut out. David Hodges takes a look at the future of health at Elon.
I get that.
More than 1,000 freshmen take contemporary wellness every year, but according to a newly proposed GST curriculum, the course may no longer be required.
I like it required because I think a lot of students would slip through the cracks and not stop and pause in their life and say, you know, I really have made a lot of changes in my life.
Hedrick sees wellness class as an important tool for students to make sound decisions, but says that if given the choice, many wouldn't take it.
I get a lot of students coming into wellness and they're coming in kind of saying, I've had it, I don't want to take this.
Some students warm up to the class, but freshman Jesse Scarborough says he's had wellness enough in the past.
I feel like I've already learned a lot of the stuff over and over, and I pick it up, and a lot of it's common sense.
Since there's about 30 wellness courses taught each semester, nearly every professor in the health department has to teach a section. A 4-semester hour elective would replace the wellness course, but cutting the requirement could put teachers out of a job.
I would say yes, there's a concern. But, you know, I'd like to kind of take me out of the equation and say, no, let's look at the real issues as the students and their health and their choices.
If given the choice, would you take health, or do you think you would just still, would you pass it by?
Probably not. I'd rather take like PE basically.
Giving students a choice could force the health department to make some difficult decisions. David Hodges, Phoenix 14 News.
The proposal is still open to change, and faculty won't vote on the new curriculum until the end of the school year.
Elon's Ignite Challenge is a success. The challenge ended last Thursday. This year, the goal was to increase young alumni donations to the university. The goal was 1,200 young alumni donors. More than 1,300 gave, totaling more than $63,000. Add in the 5-to-1 matching by CEO Carrie Anderson, and the program raised more than $420,000. Stephanie White is part of the senior class giving campaign and hopes others understand why giving back matters.
And so if students can just realize that even when they graduate Elon, they should still remain loyal to it and stay connected with other alumni.
New meal plans were announced at the beginning of the semester, but students are just now realizing how much access all access really means. Phoenix 14 reporter Rhonda Atala talked to students upset about the new meal plans.
Meal plans have changed for the next school year. Students are now paying more for less dining options. Dave Brown, future junior class president, spoke to me about how he feels about this new change.
I don't think a lot of students understand it. I mean, if you don't go to the website, calculate the money it's going to cost per each meal plan, look at the pamphlets, speak with the people, you're not going to understand, you know, what's going on for next year.
If all else fails, Brown also has another way of showing Elon that the new meal plans need to be changed.
Every junior and senior on this campus next year, if you're living off campus, do not get a meal plan. You know, let's stick it to them and say this is not what we want.
Brown wants us to stop using this and start using more of this. District Manager Jeff Gossa says that the new changes are a result of the recent surveys that Airmark has hosted for Elon students.
If you had a magic wand to wave, what would you want? And the answer was all access or unlimited meal plans.
Eric Carroll, another activist, started the Facebook group that got Students United, has been patiently waiting for Gossa's response.
Said that they were going to get back to me sometime over spring break, and they still haven't. But hopefully we'll see, you know, a little bit of changes for next year.
Seniors are looking for jobs, but networking for internships is a priority for underclassmen. Jason Puckett joins us live from the Elon Network and Alumni Gym, where the goal is students helping other students make connections. Jason, what's going on over there?
Thanks, guys. 2 years ago, an Elon student was struggling to make an internship connection. He really wanted a place where students could meet with others in their field who had already established these connections. Now, 2 years later, we have the Elon Network. Almost 50 upperclassmen ranging from communication students to business majors are here talking about their internships with underclassmen and other upperclassmen. I talked to one student who spent time in India with a rural health program and another student who interned with IBM in New York City for the past 3 years and actually got a job out of it. Elon students have made their mark all around the world, and I have here the man whose idea sparked all of this, Michael Novak. Michael, how do you feel that the Elon Network will affect students here in the long run?
I think, just short term, you're going to start having a bunch of underclassmen who don't feel lost, which is what the whole point is. We really want to be a clutch for them, somebody who, they can go to. Long term, we have a whole bunch of graduating seniors that want to be connected in this, and it's part of Elon. So we see this as a way for alumni to stay connected to the school and for underclassmen to to go through the whole process and stay connected. So it's a great filtering process to get people connected.
And do you feel that this is going to continue in the future?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, you've heard it here. The Elon Network will be continuing until 8 o'clock tonight. So if you want to make your own connections, come on out and make them. Live in Alumni Gym, Jason Puckett, Phoenix 14 News.
Thanks, Jason. If you left Elon for spring break, you may have missed out on some mail. Crystal Moyer reports.
Students came back from spring break to find their mail gone.
When I got back, there was nothing in my box.
Because students were unable to pick up their newspapers during spring break, most of them got tossed.
Over the break, we tried to put in the 3 latest issues, and other than that, we discard all the rest of them. And it's due to basically space and being a fire hazard and a security hazard as well.
Only about 3 newspapers can be stuffed in a campus mailbox.
That's about all we can get in there.
With mailboxes being 3.5 by 4.5 inches, there's no other option.
Here are the ones we took out yesterday, and you can see we've already got 2 trays ready to go for recycling.
Some students are fine with the mail center's policy.
The old newspapers are kind of pointless because media is moving so quickly these days.
Others have to keep old issues as a requirement for class.
If a professor tested on Wall Street for that week, I think I'd be pretty angry.
And for solutions,
University should notify their students if what they'll do over break, or if they can deliver another way, if they're going to throw out, subscriptions.
It's their responsibility, if anything changes, to let us know, and we'll be glad to accommodate them. But we're here to put mail up, and that's it.
Crystal Moyer, Phoenix 14 News, tonight.
Sparks says that this issue is nothing new. Elon University has been disposing uncollected newspapers for about 5 years. Remember, if you have subscriptions to a daily newspaper, it's important that you pick up them every day, or it will be taken out of your mailbox. Coming up on Phoenix 14 News tonight, these dogs are pets for now, but they have an interesting history. We'll tell you more after the break.
Plus, Japan is trying to rebuild after the destruction from the earthquake and tsunami, and Elon is trying to help.
His time at Elon is almost up, but his days playing football are far from over. Find out which athlete is following his dreams later in sports.